All right, guys, the Iceman here on the Iceman's Return YouTube channel, and it is Monday, and it's one day after the Survivor Series pay-per-view in Boston, Massachusetts. Um, yeah, well, I watched the pay-per-view, and what do I think about it? Well, I think it was an average pay-per-view. I don't think it was by no means anything spectacular whatsoever. Um, you had basically six matches on the card, or possibly seven, and the show, for the most part, was predictable. Um, but in any event, The Miz and Kofi Kingston kicked off the pre-show. Um, as we all know, recently Miz turned heel. Well, this didn't really seem like a heel Miz on this pre-show match. He wanted to shake hands in the beginning with Kofi Kingston. Kofi was reluctant, uh, which I guess I wouldn't have blamed him either. The match went on. It was a pretty good match, and at the end, The Miz ended up defeating Kofi Kingston. Now, after the match was over, Kofi and The Miz were in the ring. The Miz extended his hand to Kofi. Kofi ended up slapping The Miz. So, in my view of watching this match, and not really sure of The Miz being heel, it looked to me like Kofi did the heel turn at the end. So, we'll just have to wait and see how this pans out. So anyway, we ended up starting the Survivor Series pay-per-view, the actual card, and it was the traditional Survivor Series match. Um, Cody Rhodes, Goldust, uh, the Usos, and it was, I don't know, it was one of those interesting type of matches. They had Rey Mysterio to anchor, and we had Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, on the opposite side, along with the Real American Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. Actually, I thought this was one of the better matches of the night, and as well it should be. It was 5-on-5, and I'm not going to get into the details of the match, but for me, going into the match, I was hoping that Roman Reigns was going to look really good and strong, and as well he did. It came down to Reigns and Rey Mysterio at the very end, and of course, I mean, if Rey Mysterio found a way to defeat Roman Reigns, just returning back to the WWE, it sort of would have bothered me, but it didn't happen that way. Roman Reigns ended up coming out on top, and it made him look so strong. And I was very, very pleased with this fact. I was also pleased with the fact that Dean Ambrose was the first one to get eliminated from the match. Um, he's the U.S. champion, but how often do we ever see him defend the title? He's one of those quiet U.S. champions that you don't see very often. So anyway, it wasn't a bad match, to say the least. We had the Intercontinental title up for a rematch with Biggie Langston, the current IC champion, going up against the former IC champion Curtis Axel. You sort of knew this match was going to be okay. Pretty much, what we expected. Uh, Axel gave it his all. Biggie looked a little bit too strong for him and ended up retaining the title, which I totally expected there. We also had Ryback come out and have an open challenge. Ryback spilling off that he's not a bully, but he likes to fight, and he's this, he's that. He thinks he's really smart. Yeah, actually, Ryback thinks he's the best in professional wrestling. Mark Henry made his return last night, and Mark Henry made a statement. He ended up defeating Ryback and looked for Mark Henry possibly to face Randy Orton at TLC, and I gave that away that Randy Orton won. But in any event, it's a match really with the Big Show with Orton tonight and Mark Henry with Orton at TLC. It's just to buy some time to give Randy Orton, more time with the WWE title. So anyway, is what it is. We had the Divas matchup. Um, it's a total Divas versus AJ Lee's team, and it was a match I really could have cared less about, really, to be honest with you. But if you're there to watch the girls, that's fine because I mean they're enjoyable to watch. Um, Michael Cole sort of goofed up a little bit, stating that it was just Natalia and AJ Lee, the last two survivors, but Nikki was outside the ring. Natalia did end up making AJ tap out, and he announced that the sole survivor, Natalia, defeated AJ Lee. And he did apologize later on for the fact that Nikki was still involved in the match. She was just outside the ring. So, but anyway, it was a match I didn't really care too much about, but it was a little bit entertaining, I guess, to say the least, I suppose. So anyway, we had Cena, the World Heavyweight Champion, going up against the challenger Alberto Del Rio, the former champion. Um, Now, if you didn't see Hell in the Cell, this match was really, really good. But if you saw Hell in the Cell, you'd say, wow, this is just like the match we saw in Hell in the Cell. So overall, the match was a good match. Cena had mixed reactions in Boston. I think more cheers and boos. Uh, but anyway, Cena looked very strong in this match. Alberto looked strong as well, but Cena was just a little bit stronger to overpower Alberto. The only thing I didn't like about this match was really that um, Cena had Alberto in the STF, and Alberto slowly reached towards the rope, and he ended up touching the rope with one finger, and he had to break the hold. And Cena eventually won on the attitude adjustment. For me, the attitude adjustment is not that. Um, uh, to me, you don't win on that. But again, Cena did win on that. If he were to win, I would like to see him win on the STF. Cena did some moves last night that you don't see him do very often. Overall, it was a good match, like I said. But if you saw Hell in a Cell, it was sort of like a duplicate. So, but anyway, an okay match there. Then we had Daniel Bryan and CM Punk going up against Rowan and Harper with Bray Wyatt outside the ring. This match, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really looking forward to this match. I am a big fan of Punk and Bryan. Um, I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. It was a pretty good, you know, uh, it had its moments, where Harper and Rowan looked really strong, and but the diversity of Daniel Bryan and the reluctancy to lose by CM Punk. They made their initial comeback. There was a lot of moves off the top rope, jumping outside the ring. I think CM Punk at his age made some moves last night that probably, you know, maybe you wouldn't want to do at your age, risk of injury, but CM Punk already really is pretty much injured. But in any event, Punk and Bryan ended up getting the win. And to be quite honest with you, I thought this feud was going to run into TLC. It still may run into TLC, I'm not sure. But a lot of people were saying that Punk and Bryan were in this match with the Wyatts to really give the Wyatts the push. But when Bryan and Punk ended up winning this match, how do you call that a push? So I don't know. I really don't know where the WWE's heads are going right now. Their minds are like off in every different direction. So anyway, before the WWE title match, you saw the corporate Randy Orton and Stephanie McMahon with Randy Orton, and then you also saw John Cena there. And then John said to Randy, I'm going to leave. You guys got things to talk about, and you got business to take care of. And I had to wonder about that. And I was thinking about that, while the match was going on with Randy Orton and The Big Show. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But the Big Show Randy Orton match, to me, was a fizzle. It was a dud. Um, Big Show actually was more aggressive than Randy Orton was. He got the better of Randy Orton throughout the most of the match. The corporate music hit. Big Show, of course, turns and looks. The distraction factor, of course. Randy Orton ends up RKO and Big Show. and ended up eventually getting the pin on him. And previously during the match, Big Show did knock out Randy Orton, and he was outside the ring and he had to drag him back in. But this was all just, to fill in some time. But anyway, so the corporate showed up and the music hit, and Orton ended up RKO and Big Show and getting the pin. And thereafter, John Cena's music hits. He comes down to the ring. We did not hear the verbal uh, spew out loud between Cena and Orton. You could pretty much tell what the idea was headed to, and I do believe they're going to end up having a unification of the titles, which I don't agree with. I think it takes away from the pay-per-views. But a lot of people are thinking it's going to happen at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen at WrestleMania. It wouldn't surprise me if it happens at TLC or at the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble, I think, would be the better opportunity for Cena and Orton to unify the belts. And who do I think will win? Well, it all depends because the plans are for CM Punk to win the Rumble and go against the WWE Champion at WrestleMania. And I don't see Punk going up against John Cena one more time, especially with both of them being face. And if that were to happen, Cena would have to come out on top because he's lost to Punk too many times. So I really just don't see that match happening. So I see at the Rumble possibly Randy Orton defeating John Cena again with the corporate interference, and then CM Punk going to WrestleMania and challenging Orton for the WWE title. But overall, rating the pay-per-view, this is a tough one. It was an average pay-per-view. It was like a glorified Raw. I mean, I like the pay-per-view. Don't get me wrong, um, but it's one of those pay-per-view. It didn't stand out from anything else, this year. And actually, this year in 2013, the pay-per-views haven't they've been lackluster. But again, the WWE has some talent. They need to start pushing because we're seeing matches on pay-per-views that we've already seen 4 or 5 years ago. And so the WWE really needs to start thinking about pushing younger talent, bringing talent up from NXT, um, doing something. Because in another 5, 10, at least 5 years, who's to say who's going to be around? Who's to say who's going to be, gone from, because of their body being beat up so many times. But anyway, if I were to rate the pay-per-view, guys, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6. I know a lot of people rate it a lot lower, but you know, this pay-per-view was no worse than any of the others, and that's in my eyes. So those are my thoughts on the Survivor Series 2013 pay-per-view presented by the WWE. Watch Raw tonight. We may have some answers as to why certain things did happen at the very end of the show. I will point this out. I saw a link last night at Lords of Pain. After the Survivor Series went off the air, Cena went out and confronted Randy Orton, wanted a match with Orton. Kane came out, and there was a lot of controversy going on. Triple H was out there. Kane almost chokeslammed Triple H. Randy Orton calmed him down. Basically, they all went back out in the back. Vince came out to confront John Cena. Triple H was coming out once again. Vince told him to go back. And basically what happened was Vince took his jacket and twirled it around like the Los Matadores, and it ended. So there's a lot of interesting things going on, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. So again, Monday, my review. Peace out, everybody. See y'all next time. This is the Iceman on the Iceman's Return YouTube channel.